Meantime, a major topic at the EU summit, what to do about Portugal. Two officials say a bailout could cost as much as $99 billion. A bailout of Greece cost $155 billion, bailout for Ireland $120 billion. Now, the interest rate on Portugal's 10-year bonds hit a Euro-era record, up more than 7%, a level that many economists say is unsustainable. For more on what the future holds for Portugal and the rest of Europe, we welcome back Bloomberg contributor, Dartmouth professor, and former member of the Bank of England's Policy Setting Committee, Danny Blanchflower. You've got quite a wind-up there. You need any more titles in your introductions?
I didn't know who it was.
Plus Miss America.
Well, good to chat. Thanks. Good to chat again.
Always wonderful to talk to you. And really, Europe coming back with a vengeance here, reminding the world that sovereign debt crisis has not disappeared. Talk to me about whether you think it is inevitable that we're going to see this, what, 70 billion euro bailout of Portugal.
Well, I think it's inevitable. I think the big question really is what's going to happen in Portugal. Is the plan of those who've kind of brought the government down, is the plan to renegotiate the debt or actually to default on it? That it may well be that they're prepared to do the latter. So I think the likelihood is that they're going to have to get a package, just the question when. It's at the same time we saw negotiations in Ireland. You negotiate with one government and then a new government comes in because people don't like what's going on. So now we're in this situation. How does, there's an interim government, let's say, for the next 60 days. Are they going to negotiate a new loan and then wait for the new government to come in? This is very unstable. And the EU summit was about trying to sort out a package permanently. Well, clearly they can't do that now.
No, and I spoke just last week to the new Prime Minister of Ireland, who was here in the U.S. saying, I'm going to the EU summit and I'm going to say bring down that 5.8% interest rate on our bailout. What happens to his agenda now that Portugal's in crisis? Does that mean that Ireland is left hanging in the balance in the meantime?
Well, presumably it's left hanging in the balance, but it's not going to go away. I mean, the EU can say, oh, you've got to pay this. But I think I've said this on this program a few times. You're in a situation where you have an over-indebted country and then you give them more expensive debt and expect them to carry on. I mean, the problem with this, I think we've talked about it a few times, the problem with this is you haven't stopped it. You didn't stop at Greece, you haven't stopped at Ireland, you had a chance with Portugal and it continues to roll, and Spain sits there in the background. The Spanish Prime Minister apparently is at the summit today trying to talk about measures that they're going to implement, but Spain has 20% unemployment already compared with 11 in Portugal. So this just looks like the crisis is rolling and rolling.
So then why are we talking about a bailout? Should it be, packaged as something different? Should it not be from this EFSF fund? Should it be something entirely different when it comes to answering Portugal's problem? Different from Greece, different from Ireland?
Well, yeah, it's probably going to have to be, but it's never going to be settled in a period where there's probably going to be an interim government for the next, whatever it is, 60 days before there's an election. So you're not going to be able to sort out anything permanently as you couldn't in Ireland. So this is a crisis that's going to roll and roll. What the EU has clearly got to do is to prevent this rolling to other countries. Spain sits there. They have to do everything. And the worry is those stress tests, which I think on Bloomberg at the time when they came out, I said they weren't very stressful.
Well, we've got another one.
What are they going to do in these? Right, so what happens to these, I never know how to pronounce it, the CAHAs. What happens to that stress test? If suddenly they actually get realistic, then what do we do? So this is really, I think, about trying to prevent the crisis spreading, particularly to Spain, and then there's Italy, and then there's all sorts of other places. So I think, they should have done this a year ago, and they're paying the price of not doing that.
Yeah, and we did see Moody's say that they're downgrading 30 of Spain's smaller banks because of their worries that you just highlighted.
Well, right. Well, we saw that, but we also have seen two things in the UK comparable. Today, Moody's said that the AAA rating in the UK was under question because of lowering the growth rate under the budget. And in fact, you talked about demonstrations in Brussels. There's a huge demonstration in the UK by the trade unions on Saturday. So this sort of social unrest and the austerity doesn't appear to be working, and the people are sort of shouting back. So this is a big worry.
Well, how has the picture changed? We've already known about these debt concerns, right? But now you've got Brent crude, you've got Brent oil, the price there well above $100. That's what Europe is reliant on. I mean, that's what consumers are feeling, more of a pinch to their pocketbooks. So how has the Mideast in some ways changed this?
Well, I think the Mideast changes it in the sense that all previous recessions have been, in a sense, preempted by an oil price hike, which pushes up inflation in the start and then lowers output later. But I think, in answer to your question, the austerity measures that we've seen, that people put in and said, oh, this will be just fine, what you've actually seen, if you look in Q4 2010, the countries that have done austerity or are starting, all of them have had negative growth rates. So today, I think Ireland negative in Q4.
1.6%.
Portugal, Greece, Portugal, Greece, and the UK. And then people keep saying, well, it can't really be this bad. It'll all get revised away. And they've got it completely wrong because it gets revised as being worse. So I just think we've not been on top of it. Austerity isn't working. And then the people who it's being imposed on are speaking up.
Well, we got to leave it there, but real quick question to you. If you were back in the UK on Saturday, would you be out there demonstrating?
Oh, no, I would watch and comment. A watcher and a commentator.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it right there.